Hi everyone, happy Sunday. Let me go ahead and fix this camera. All right, happy Sunday everyone. I made it. It will be 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and I am here tuning in live from the Notary Education Group channel. So welcome back. Put something on my lips. And why didn't I bring my water in here? It's like I always forget to bring my water. And then I'd be up here all parched and stuff. So anywho, hey Stephanie. So for those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, sorry about all the stumbling over my words. I literally just got back in the house. My name is Bergeau, also known as Be Elise, and I am the owner of Be Elise Notary Services, as well as president and founder of the Notary Education Group, which is the channel that you're watching. And every Sunday, Eastern Standard Time at 8:30 p.m., I come live on here to talk to you guys about notary-related topics and business-related topics, tips, things that will help you be successful out here in the business and notary world. All right. And I also like to answer your questions if you have any in real time, because I think that will be very helpful to you. All right. So tonight we are going to be talking about notary tools. I have done several videos about notary tools, but I just feel like you can never get enough of seeing and hearing about it because these are the things that we need to do our job. All right. So, if you guys are a part of the Notary Education Group, Support for Notary Facebook group, you saw that I posted that not only did I make or create a new notary journal, that's a paper bound journal, but I also wrote several different blogs, and they basically were based off of things that I saw in other groups or things that just came off the top of my head that I wanted to write about. And so we're going to talk about notary tools today, though. So what I started out with versus what I use now. Okay. So it's 8:30. I'm gonna go ahead and jump right on into it. When I first became a notary, I had the basic tools. I had the paper notary journal. Okay. And I didn't like the paper notary journal that everyone starts out with where it has like the 8 entries. It's a legal size and it stretches across both pages. I didn't like that, because I heard that when you are doing notary and how you have to cover up the entry that doesn't belong to the customer before you. And so my very first journal that I bought though, I think it was 2 entries per page, which meant that I still had to cover up an entry. And I went through about a quarter of that book, and it really was something I just didn't like. So then I started looking for other notary journals that would be better to use. And so I found it was like a mini, hi Michael, good evening. It was the mini journal. It was a mini journal. It was 1 page. And I just remember it was blue, and I think was like some yellow lines and words on it. And I think it was called the 1 page notary journal. I think it's exactly what it was called. And I used that for a minute, and that worked out okay as well. As a matter of fact, hold on. I think I have the very first journal I used. I can show you guys. Let me see. I do. Okay. So this was my first notary journal. All right. And I don't know if you can see the date on there. It says July 30th, 2020 to March 27th, 2021. That's how long I used it. Not quite a full year. And I filled it up just a little bit. About a quarter, I want to say. Yeah, about a quarter of the way. I did 49 entries in this book. And I have to keep it for until 2031. I got to keep this for 10 years, right? Or I think the paper journal you have to keep for 7. I think the paper journal you keep for 7 years. But in any event, I have to keep this locked away in my file cabinet. So, and then I had got the one-page one, and I actually think I didn't use it. I don't think I used it. So then, me being a little the intuitive person I am, I made my own journal. This is the very first notary journal that I created for just myself to use. And I think I got this off of Bookymon. I created it, listed it on Bookymon. Okay, yeah. Stephanie confirmed 7 years for the paper journal, and for electronic in Florida is 10 years. So this is the first paper journal I made. And that's my very first logo. And I have journal entries in here, so I can't show you. And I went through this one. Oh, wow, I use this one a lot. Try to see if I can get through. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I think I used half of the book. I went through half of this book. And then I just kept creating more and more journals. But this is how it looked on the inside. Okay. This is my first one that I made for myself. So both of these have to be kept in my file cabinet that you saw back here and locked away. So yeah, keep that locked in there under lock and key. So yeah. So since then, I've created more paper journals, and I've created an electronic journal. Unfortunately, the electronic journal I can only use myself because I don't want to pay that much to distribute for other people use. So anyway, the journal. Okay, I went through several different styles of journal before I stopped, and I've been using the electronic journal ever since. Now, I did use a commercial based one, and that was Jurat, right? Or no, Jurat Ink. That was the very first electronic journal that I used. And it was okay, but there were some things that I didn't like about it, and that's why I stopped using it. So the one was, although the app works offline, so like you don't need internet to use it, they had a glitch that lasted 2 days. And how lucky was I to have it last the 2 days that I had several appointments booked? So I ended up having to write down my journal entries, and I didn't have any signatures for those entries because my thought was I'll enter these in once the app came back live, or active, because you literally couldn't get into your journal at all. So that's what I ended up having to do. I ended up having to put either 5 or 6 journal entries in after the fact. I think I did, 3 in-person appointments per day, and my other appointments thankfully were online. So, the online notary platforms already have their electronic journal, so you don't have to worry about that. But it made me realize going fully digital has its pros and cons, as anything does, obviously. So that made me think I wish that I had had a paper journal on me, or thought to use a paper journal in the meantime. But then it also made me mad because I was like, you're not supposed to use more than one journal at the same time. So I have all these journal entries in this electronic journal, and then it's down for 2 days. And then I have a paper journal full of 6 entries. That's all in the same time frame. And then I go from using the paper journal to back to the electronic. So that I didn't like. And that happens. That wasn't really the breaking point for me. It was like, it happens. It's a digital thing. It was very frustrating, but it's something that is going to happen if you're doing using a digital journal. So the second thing I didn't like about it was it has a feature where you can scan the ID. You scan the front of it and the back of it, and it's supposed to populate the fields in the journal from the information on the driver's license. The problem I had with that is it also will populate foreign characters and sometimes it will misspell the person's name or their street address. I mean, yeah, street name. And so I ended up saving one journal entry where the name was incorrect. And I had to type in the notes what the person's actual name was. And that happened more than one time where I would have to go and I would have to manually correct the typo. And, I don't know if they fixed that or not, but that made me upset as well. And so another thing was I reached out to their customer service because I had a question about something in the journal. I wanted to export all of my journal entries in one, you know, um, in one process, right? They never reached back out to me. They never responded. I used their chat on the website and I emailed them, and no one from support ever reached back out to me. So that made me upset because I'm like, I'm using your product. Your customer support, it says that they would get back to you within a certain time frame, and nobody ever responded back to me. So that was when I was like, I don't want to be couldn't I don't want to feel like I have to rely on your subscription and platform for my journal entries because they're mine at the end of the day, right? They never helped me to I was like, I want to export all of my journal entries so that I can cancel my subscription. And I think that may be why they didn't respond back to me, but I still think that's a poor reason. And I had several different emails and chats with them, and I never got a response. So, in order for me to get all of my journal entries before I cancel my subscription, I had to manually download them one by one. And I used that journal for, I want to say, maybe 2 years. And I had a lot of journal entries. I had a lot. So, that is what made me say, okay, I can't, I don't want to do that. Now, like I told you in the beginning, I am using my own e-journal that I made for myself because I have Zoho one, and Zoho one has forms. And so I created my notary journal as a form, and I fill it out every time I have a notarization to complete, and I can save it and I can export it in bulk on a Excel spreadsheet and save it. I could also export it as PDFs in a one click of a button. And so I like that a lot better. But I'll also tell you that another con is that I use my iPad for my notary journal. And my iPad, sometimes I don't charge it. So sometimes it'll go dead. Sometimes the Apple Pencil will go dead, which will force me to have to use my cell phone. And typing in all of the information on my cell phone, having them sign on my cell phone, it's difficult because it's a smaller screen. Now, what I can do if I can remember, I can use my desktop to enter in the notarization before I go to the appointment and save the entry without actually submitting it. Because once I submit it, I can't edit it. So, what I like about the electronic journal versus the paper journal is that it's password protected. So that means nobody can access that journal unless they have my password and my fingerprint to get into it. I like that feature because paper journals, they're not really secure. If you live in a home with other people, they have access to your journal. You know what I'm saying? And yes, we would all like to trust the people that we have in our home, but anything can happen. You can have a fire in the home, you can have a flood, and your journals, you need to make sure those paper journals are in a safe space to where they won't be damaged and they won't be accessible by other people. So that's why those two journals, even though they're halfway full, they're locked in a file cabinet. Okay. So stamps. I've went through several stamps. So notary stamps, those are self-explanatory. You order a self-ink stamp, make sure that it has all of the features in the stamp that is supposed to be there per your state statute, right? When I first started out, I only had the one stamp. I've heard people say have more than one stamp, but I didn't feel the need to. I was like, what I'm gonna do with more than one stamp? Well, I learned that there are going to be some documents where your traditional size stamp is going to be too big for the space that is given to you. And I ran into that. So when I first started, um, performing my duties as a notary, I got pretty busy pretty quick because I listed myself on Google, and I this is not my first time being in business. I've had a couple of businesses before this one, so I already know how to market and get myself out there. So as soon as my Google went live and people start calling me because I always answer the phone, I started getting calls and I started getting appointments. So I had two appointments where my notary stamp was too large for the space. And I had to end up adding a loose certificate. Now, on one of those two documents, it said in the notes that attached certificate would not be acceptable and that the document will be rejected, right? And so I'm like, oh my God, if I use my regular size stamp, it's going to cover things on this form. And it was a bank form. It was a bank form where the retired person was for the military and they wanted to access their account. So the military person had to sign and their spouse had to sign. And I had to notarize that document. And so I put my stamp on there the best way that I could. And I attached a loose certificate just in case. And I told them, if the bank rejects this, call me back. I will redo this for you free of charge. When I left, I went home and I ordered a mini stamp same night because I was like, this is why people have more than one stamp. So now I primarily use my mini stamp for everything. I don't even use my regular size stamp. I do have my regular size stamp in my bag because I also remembered a situation where I was using my mini stamp and the imprint was a little lighter than usual. And it was because I forgot to re-ink my stamp. And I've never had to re-ink the stamp. And I think this is when I first went full time, which was December of 2023. I think that January 2024, I started noticing my stamp was getting really light and I had to buy ink. And I think I did a video showing you guys how to re-ink your stamp. That was the first time I had to re-ink my stamp, but it also dawned on me, what if my stamp kept getting lighter and lighter the more I stamped it? I don't have a backup in my bag. So now whenever I renew my commission, they sent me a stamp automatically. And it's a traditional size one. So I had to order a mini stamp additionally. So I have the traditional size stamp and a mini stamp, and I have them both in my notary bag because you just don't want to be caught where you are not able to provide services. And I was at a closing. So I was going to be stamping, stamping, stamping. And if that stamp got lighter and lighter and lighter, I would have been stuck. And I wasn't close to home. So, guys, please make sure you see those two incidents I just explained to you. If you're going to be using an electronic journal, okay, make sure whatever device you're using on is charged. Okay, like when I get off with you guys tonight, I'm going to plug in my iPad, and in the morning, I'm going to plug in my Apple Pencil. I also have connected to my journal or my iPad a Bluetooth keyboard that also needs to be charged. And I have to do this, I have to remember to do this every weekend. I also have to remember to charge my laptop that's in my notary bag every weekend. Okay? Because I'm pretty much fully digital over here. I have played with the thought in my head back and forth about just having a paper journal just because I did an update on my iPad to the beta 26, I guess. I did an update on it. And for some reason, it keeps disconnecting my Apple Pencil and my Bluetooth keyboard. And so you can imagine how frustrated I get, or how frustrating it can be when you're at an appointment and you're trying to get your technology to work and it's not acting right. So the time that I'm spending trying to get my technology to work right, I could have completed my paper journal entry. My paper journal entry is what I'm saying. Exactly, Stephanie. So I'm not really liking this update on my iPad because I use the iPad because it's a bigger screen, and I use my Apple Pencil because it's easier for people to draw their name as opposed to using their finger. Now, I do have a stylus that they can use on my phone for the journal, but I honestly just don't want nobody touching my phone. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to give you my phone. I don't know where your hands been. It's already bad enough I'm shaking your hand, introducing myself and stuff, and automatically in my head, I'm like, can't wait to get to the car so I can get some hand sanitizer on me. So yeah, I don't really feel comfortable with giving people my phone. Um, and yes, I do have a separate phone for my work phone, but I also sometimes put the phone up to my face. So if I got several appointments in person and I've been a person, because not a lot of people are going to just have your phone sit on the counter and just draw their name. They're going to do this. They're going to pick it up and then they're going to draw on it. So they're touching your freaking phone. So I use the iPad. The iPad, they don't pick it up. I slide it over and they may maneuver it, either, slide it to the left or something or the right. And then they'll draw and then they'll tap done. And then I get the iPad back. So yeah, so it's something I'm going to still play with in my mind because I really like using a digital journal. I don't really like doing all that writing, you know. But I do have the paper journal in my bag now for backup, just in case my tech goes down because it can happen. I have the 2 stamps in my bag just in case because things can happen. You don't want to be caught off guard. Another thing that is very important for you to have in your notary bag is loose certificates. All right. And for those of you who do not know what that is, I'll show you. Okay. Um, this is a loose certificate. Okay. This is my own branded loose certificate. I also have these that are downloadable on the Notary Education Group's, I think, a resource page. No, it's under Florida Notary Certificates or something like that. But yes, you got to have loose certificates, guys, because you never know if you come upon a document that the verbiage doesn't have all the elements and you don't have enough room to write it in. If it doesn't have enough space for your stamp to not cover everything else on the document, you got to attach one of these, okay? And you need to have the most common ones, okay? You want to have the acknowledgement. I get right to you, blessed with melanin and dimples. I see your question. And you want to have the jurat, okay? You got to have copies of these and make sure that if you found yourself using a lot of your certificates, make more copies, okay? Really what you should be doing every weekend before you start the work week is making sure all of your technology is charged and making sure that you have plenty of copies of loose certificates in your bag. Okay. I also keep other loose certificates in my bag because I find myself sometimes going to assisted living places where they need to use a credible witness because their ID is expired. So I have credible witness certificates. Um, what's another one? Copy certification. Most people come to my office for that because if I'm the one making the copy or if we do it online, I just have it saved on my computer and I can just add it. Now, Blessed with Melanin and Dimples asks, what e-journal do I use? I use my own e-journal right now, but the one that I would recommend to you is Notary Act. And the reason why I chose Notary Act over Jurat Ink is because Jurat Ink, they they're they're fairly new. They're newer. They're not brand new. They're newer. But Notary Act has been around a very long time. And so I feel like because they're more seasoned, they have more of their glitches figured out. Okay. Jurat Inc., they were the reason why my app and everybody's access to their apps were down for 2 days is because they were doing some updates and, you know, updating new features and adding new stuff, and the update end up lasting longer, and it knocks some people out of the app. So just because of that, and because of the the support for customer service, I think that Jurat Inc. is something you should try. Now, both of them, Jurat Inc. and Notary Act, they allow you to access it and use it for free, so you can see if it's something that you like. Okay, so if I were you, I would definitely take on the free trial, try both of them, and see which one you like. I would never say don't use Jurat Inc. because I did like how their app worked. Um, but Notary Act has been around. Notary Act for a very long time was the only e-journal that we knew of until Jurat Inc. came out. Notary Gadget also has added a notary journal to their app. So you can also check them out. You're welcome. So let me see. We talked about the journal, the stamp, the loose certificates. Okay. I was trying to figure out what's another one I have. I have several in my bag. I just do because, and it's only because of the different situations I've come in contact with. But for you guys, for the most part, credible witness affidavits, jurat, and acknowledgement, you want to keep them on you. Okay. Make sure you have copies on you at all times. Pins. Oh, yes, Stephanie, thank you. I also have certificate stamps. Okay. And let me unlock my thing here. So I have certificate stamps too, because sometimes you'll have a document where there's a whole lot of room and you could just add the certificate right to the document itself. So these are what they look like. Okay. And it just has the certificate verbiage on it already. Uh-oh, it's getting blurry. Okay. They are quite big. Okay. Much bigger than my notary stamp. Okay. But I like them because sometimes the customer, they don't understand about the loose certificate attachment. They will prefer everything be put on the same page. So if you can, go ahead and stamp it on there. But if you don't have this stamp, then you will have to attach a loose certificate. Now, if you want to get this stamp, don't forget, on our website, we have a notary supplier. Go on there, enter in the code so you can get, I think it's 30% off and free shipping. Let me put these back. Yes, get you both of them. Okay, they're going to be a, come on, princess. What? What is it, honey? Hmm? I haven't been home all day and I guess she misses me. So yes, definitely get them. They are going to be a real good tool for you. Yeah, you would definitely need it for sure. So yeah, different stamps for different things. I also have a C attached. Oh, it's not in here. I also have a C attached certificate. I have a venue, not certificate, C attached stamp. I have a, I know Stephanie, Princess always comes in here. I also have the venue stamp, which is just state of, county of, because you'll be surprised you get some documents that don't have that there. Yep, copy stamp certificate for copy certifications. Sometimes if the copy has some white space there, you can add it right on the document itself instead of having to attach something to it. I also have an embosser. I have only been requested to use my embosser twice. Okay. And I want to think, what country was it? Maybe it was somewhere in Africa where they required it. And I even had an apostle where it was a business sending their document and needed an apostle and they wanted me to use the embosser. and I had to emboss every page for them. Okay. But I also used my notary stamp for the notarization. The embosser didn't have anything to do with the notarization because obviously, if you're not aware, we cannot use the embosser by itself unless you have an inker that you can blot onto it, but I don't have an inker. So I have to use my ink stamp. Can't use in Colorado. Okay, so she can't do copy certifications in Colorado. I'm happy that you mentioned that because not every state can do copy certifications. In Florida, we can. Are there any other stamps that I have here? Let's try to see. I have some other stamps, but they're not notary related, so I'm just looking. Yeah. So no, that's about it for the notary stamps. Stephanie, thank you for mentioning that because I always forget about my certificate stamps. Another thing I want to say, pens, okay? And I know you're like, okay, well, the ink pen is an ink pen. You want to have two different color pens, and in some cases, two different size pens. Now, before you say, what the heck? I know, but listen up. I've been doing this for a while, and I have had customers where if the ink pen was too skinny, it hurt their fingers. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. She said, no, the embosser they can't use, but they can do copy certifications in Colorado. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, they don't want you using the embosser if you don't have an inker because you can't see it if you make a copy of it. So if you're going to use the embosser as your primary notary stamp, you got to be able to ink it. They want ink stamps. And some states don't want a circle stamp at all. It needs to be certain dimensions and all of that stuff. So knowing what your state allows is very important. Now back to pens. If you are going to be working with the older population, or maybe somebody has surgery, it could be several different instances where an ink pen that is too small can make a person's hand cramp up and it makes it hard for them to be able to write. So I don't have it to show to you, but having those egg-sized foam cushions that slide over the pen are very helpful for this. Okay? You don't need a whole bunch of them. You just need to have one or two so you could be able to slide it over the ink pen. Okay? And when I order pens with my name on it, I like to order the fatter pen. Okay? You can see they're kind of fat. Stop, girl. I try to stay away from the really slim pens, which I got rid of. I didn't get rid of them. I just stopped using them. This is the pen I prefer to use. It's a little smaller, but even this sometimes makes my finger cramp up because I hold my pen like this, which I think when everybody, they look at it like, why do you hold it like that? It's how I was taught. Nobody ever corrected me, so this is how I wrote it. But I like these pens because it's a very fine point, which looks better when writing versus a medium point pen. But yeah, ink pens are important. You also want to be careful with using gel pens because gel pens, when you drop water on them, they can run. They also can bleed onto other pages that are behind it or pages you're going to put over it. It could bleed onto that page. So you want to be careful of gel pens. And if you're going to use one, probably opt for one that has fast drying. But I would just, probably just not do the gel. I know the gel, you like how it writes and everything, but like I said, it getting wet, it'll run really bad versus a ballpoint. Okay. The ballpoint, it will look like it's smeared, but then it'll dry and look normal. Whereas the gel one, it will get wet and it will run, and then when it dries, it will still be rubbed. So it's kind of like using an inkjet printer, which we don't want to use either if you're going to be doing signing agent duties where you have to print out the documents for loan signings. You don't want to use an inkjet printer. You want to use a printer that is laser jet that uses toner. Toner burns the ink onto the page, whereas inkjet doesn't. Okay. So You also want to have in your bag paper clips, a little mini stapler, all right? And the reason why you want to have both is because you don't automatically want to just staple loose certificates to documents. Hopefully, you have a loose certificate that will allow you to write at the bottom of it what it's attached to. That way, you won't have to staple it. You can paper clip it, okay? At the bottom of my certificate, it says attached to, and then you put the title that this certificate is attached to. If you're using a certificate stamp, though, you don't even have to worry about it because it's already on the document itself. But I don't automatically staple anything. I use a paper clip. Okay, paper clips are much better. All right. Um, but I do have a stapler, because sometimes I'll get documents that were already stapled. And if the person wants me to staple it back, I will. But if I have to remove the staple, then I'm gonna put it back. It was already stapled to begin with, so not a big deal. We don't use highlighters. Okay. We don't want to be highlighting any of the documents that we're going to be filling out. Okay. It's just not something you want to get used to doing. You can, however, though, use sticky notes or flag tabs. Flag tabs are really helpful. And I'll show you what those are if you're not familiar. So flag tabs, these are flag tabs, okay? If you have a lot of documents, and let's just say that you're going to meet with a customer and they're going to be meeting with you on their lunch break, this just makes everything faster because you already know what pages you're going to be working with. Now, I will tell you a story about what happened with me. So, I didn't want to pay for the post-it ones that you see me showing you right now. I bought some off of Amazon and they were no brand, no name brand. They were so freaking cheap. So what happened was I did that for a person who was at work. I flagged all of the pages just so that we can get through it quickly. Um, that saves time when you're tagging all the pages that need a signature or need to be filled in. But if you don't have time to do it, it's not going to save you time. It's going to be, chaotic. So only do this if you have the time to. Okay, like if you got the documents the day before type deal, then yeah, absolutely do it. It's helpful. So anyway, the Amazon no name brand tab that I use, it ended up getting stuck to another page that already had a flag tab on it. And I noticed that this one page had two tabs on it, but I was like, maybe I mistakenly put it on there. So we're signing everything with the tabs on it. And so I'm done, right? I go back through the documents and everything that was tabbed looks signed. Instead of me going back through the documents one by one, I went through the documents looking at the tabs. I get home and I go through the page one by one and I notice that there was one page that had a tab on it and it got stuck to another page, therefore having two tabs on one page. So that's never happened to me if I use a post-it. The post-it flags are a little bit more expensive, but they're worth it. Okay. Don't get the cheap tabs that don't stick well. Use the post-its, okay? Stephanie said I did the same with address labels. I bought an off-brand on Amazon and my printer was jamming like crazy. Yeah. Sometimes you go with the brand because the brand is the good quality. It's like sometimes you want to save money, but sometimes it just don't make no sense because you end up kicking yourself in the butt afterwards. So I end up having to throw all those tabs away and end up having to spend more money on the post-it tabs that have never given me an issue. So yeah, exactly, Stephanie. Exactly. Now remember I was telling you guys about the stamp running out of ink. Super important. Okay. If you are a busy notary, you're going to want to have this refill ink to re-ink your notary stamp. Because although the stamps, they do last a while, I just had to re-ink my notary stamp and I renewed my commission in 2024, July is when I got my new stamp. So it's been a little over a year and I just had to re-ink my stamp. But I did have to re-ink it because I am a busy notary. I do this full time and it just makes sense. Okay. Now, before I shook it up, you could see that it was just about that much full. So I got a lot of way to go before I use all of this up. But I do have it. And I do have 2 stamps in my bag. Okay. Now, I don't know how any of you run your business, but I like name tags. Okay. I like how they look. I like how um, I'm perceived when I have one on, but you absolutely don't need one. Okay. You don't. But I have them. Okay. So I have a silver one and I have this cute blingy one. And then when I was doing site inspections for work, I had this one, and then I have the gold Notary Public one. So I like to wear them sometimes. If I have all gold jewelry on, I wear gold. If I have on all silver jewelry, I'll wear the silver. If I'm just blinged out for the day, we're gonna do some bling. You, like I say, you do not need these, okay? Probably a waste of money. I don't wear them as much as I used to in the beginning, but every once in a while I will put them on. And people actually like them. Does it give me more business? No. But I like how they look, so that's why I share them. Now, if you are doing jobs where they want you to do scans, please do not use a scanner app on your phone. All right. What I will tell you about that is if you are going to use a scanner app on your phone, do it for a 1 to maybe 5 page document, a page that's 1 to 5. Okay. Pages, but I mean, a document is 1 to 5 pages. Anything longer, you need to have a real scanner, okay? And you're just gonna have to invest in it. You want to know why? Because it's the cost of doing business. You need certain tools to be able to do your job, and because you don't work for somebody, they're not going to provide it to you. Like I worked for United Health Group for 7 years. They sent me a computer, they sent me a desk, a chair, they sent me notebooks, pens, they sent me all of that stuff because they were paying me to do a job. Well, as a independent contractor, which most of us are, for as far as the notary public goes, you have to provide your own tools. And if you're going to pay for your own tools, you may as well pay for something that's going to work. Stephanie says, I love my name badges. It is very useful in networking events. If you plan on networking, please get some. It is very useful for networking because when you go to networking events, they'll give you those stickers that you write your name on in marker. And let me tell you, depending on the shirt, I have my polos with my logo on it. And that adhesive is hard to get out of my dry fit shirts. So I prefer to have my name tag because I don't have to worry about trying to get that gook out of my shirt that I spent a lot of money on, by the way. Um, what was I saying though? Talking about name tags and I forgot what I was talking about, guys. Remind me before I got off into talking about the name badges. Oh, scanner. So I'm gonna show you the scanner that I have. You've seen it several times, but I'm gonna show it to you again. This is my scanner. Okay. It stays in my bag. It goes with me everywhere. I don't have to charge it up or anything like that. I do have to plug it into my laptop and I also have to plug it into a power source. All right. So it opens up like this. Okay. I can scan driver's licenses just by clicking this over and putting it through this little part here. It does very high quality and I can feed up to 20 pages at a time into this thing. And it's not a slow scan. It's pretty quick too. Now I know some people prefer the bigger one that's like this. I prefer to be able to have everything in one bag. So this is why I use this one. Okay. Do I do iPen a lot? No, I do not. This is Epson. Epson ES200. They have an Epson ES300 as well. I think the ES300 is Bluetooth. I don't really care to have Bluetooth because one thing about Bluetooth is if you break that connection, then the scan will stop mid-scan, and that's just dumb. So I don't mind direct connecting my um, scanner to my laptop because I know that I'm not going to get the breakup of connection. It's going to be direct. But I don't do a lot of iPen. I have done one iPen. I have been requested to do one in my whole career, and it was really cool. So what happened was it was frick. What is it called? I forget what it's called. Stephanie, you would know. What is it called when you are going to do the application for them to apply for a reverse mortgage? I did one of those, and it was really cool. So when I got there, all I had to do was, I still had to scan in her supporting documents, but after I scanned those, she signed all the documents electronically. So, like I said, I keep my iPad in my bag and my laptop. We use my iPad because I wanted her to use I know, Stephanie, I wanted her to be able to draw her name. So I use my iPad because I have an Apple Pencil for that. And she signed everything on my iPad, and she signed her name and initials, and we completed it. And she was like, I don't have a printer. I would really like to get these printed. Do you think if I save them, can I email them and then they can print them for me? And so I offered to print them for her because I have a printer in my trunk. And she thanked me for that. And so I went ahead and printed them out for her. Because when you do DocuSign, it'll email you the finished documents that you signed. So I downloaded those and printed them from my car, brought her the papers, and left. And I'm like, why don't more people do that? Because whenever I do those appointments, there's always older people doing it. And those are the ones where I will have to have that cushion on the ink pen because their fingers are cramping up. It's a lot of freaking documents that they have them sign. Even though you end up printing one whole pack where half of the pack is for them and half they got to sign, that's still a lot of documents. That is still a lot of freaking documents. It's like 200 something pages. So I'm like, if they had everybody e-sign, that would be so much easier to do. But yeah, so I've only done one IPN my whole career as a notary, and I wish that they would really jump on board with that. I really do, because it would just be so much easier, especially for older individuals. So yeah. So scanners, printer, like I said, LaserJet. I do have the printer set up in my trunk. I do not have a dual tray in my trunk. I have a dual tray here in my office, and I have that color LaserJet over there. I only use. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's not really a request or a demand for iPen in my area. So if you're getting the demand for it, absolutely, I would encourage you to do it. But I think I talked to you guys last week about this. It's very important that anything new that you decide to do, make sure that it's a demand for it. Because you just being able to do it is not going to bring in customers. You have to already have people requesting for you to do it in order for you to know that you're going to use it. Okay. I have Ron platforms that offer iPen as one of the features. So I already have access to it, but I'm an online notary. And about 95% of my signings are online. So that is why it will be helpful for me. But nobody requests iPen here, so it wouldn't work for me. So if you're getting, all right, good. If you're getting requests for it and you don't offer it yet, absolutely jump on that. But if you're not getting requests for it, it's not worth it. It's not worth you guys adding something to your business that you know you're never going to use. It just makes no sense, you know. But good. I'm glad that you're recognizing the demand in your area and you're looking to jump on it because you don't want to leave no money on the table. You have people calling you for services and then you're not even prepared for that type of service. Like I remember 3 years ago, people kept calling me about apostles, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. I don't know what that's about. But I kept getting called for translations. I'm like, you know what? Fine. Let me figure out how to do this so I can offer it. And now I did 3 apostles last week. I get asked to do it a lot. I did 2 translations, 3 apostles last week. So it's a demand. It was a demand in Broward, and it's a demand where I am now. So it's something that I have to continuously make sure I keep under my wing because it's a demand for it all the time. And I think it's probably a Florida thing too, because you have so many people here from everywhere. And so they're constantly having to send documents back to places that are outside of the US. So it just makes sense. They have to have it translated from English to that language or from that language to English so they can use it here. And it's a huge demand. Yeah. Yep. If you got a demand for it, you need to add the service. Okay. It just wouldn't make sense not to. Absolutely. And especially because for apostles, that don't cost you nothing. you know, you doing the IPN is going to cost you more than it would cost you to learn how to do apostles. Okay. IPN, you're going to have to pay a fee for that to use it regularly. You don't have to pay a fee to do apostles. You literally just follow your state website and what they're talking about, and then bam, there you go. Like I said, with the online notary platforms that I use, I do pay to have access to them because most of the ones I use have a subscription, and the IPN is a part of that. So I have to pay for it to do online. So if I am ever asked to do the IPN, I know that I could do it from either of the platforms I'm already paying to use. So yeah, that's how that's going to work. But more tools. Business cards. I can't tell you guys how many times I have come across business professionals and they don't have a business card. I'm like, what? You don't even have a digital one? You need a business card. Okay, you do. And I have different business cards because I'm always asked for them. Where are they? I have business cards, I have postcards, I have brochures. My brochures were a big hit at the assisted living places because, you know, it has more information. It tells them everything that I do. Okay. I made these on Canva, and I think I purchased 50 of them. I don't remember how much it was, but it wasn't expensive. And this is all I have left. So I'll probably be ordering some more by the year end. They sit on my desk and people grab them. I also have the business card. Okay. Front and back. That is one style. I met a company at a networking event that I ordered business cards from. They gave me 1,000 of them for 60, I think. And then I also have business cards for the Notary Education Group, because sometimes I do have notaries ask about training and help with getting their business started and marketing, and we do that. And here's my other, I think it looks a lot, yeah, it looks a lot like that one. That's not the right one though. I think this is the box I use for networking. And I think, here we go. I made this one on Canva. This one doesn't have the watermark. It's just clean and white. and the other one had the watermark on it. But I also have digital, because if you do networking online, like Alignable, they do a lot of virtual networking events. And what better way to share your business card digitally than that way? Okay, you're going to send it over to them. They'll message me and say, "Can I have your business card?" And I'll send them a link to my digital business card. I will tell you, in person is not as popular as and it's because a lot of the people that I meet that do work in real estate, they're older than me. Most times they're my age or older, and they don't want a digital card, which I'm like, why? Because for me, I prefer a digital card because I'm gonna lose the paper card. Although I have a box, over there. You can't see it, but there's a box over there full of business cards that I've gotten from people at networking events, because they just insist on giving you the paper instead of digital. But I'm with Stephanie. You have both. All right. Yes. The older generation, they love postcards and brochures because this business card is small. Okay. And one thing I try to tell businesses, do not use your business card as a flyer. Okay. You see my business card? It just has contact info. That's it. This is how to contact me. And it has little icons for all of my, socials, and where you can leave a review. This QR code, I think, goes to my website, I want to say. I don't remember. But yeah, do not use this as a flyer. I see so many notaries, they'll put their contact information here, and then on the back, I do acknowledgments, juras, I do this, I do that. Like, don't, that's not how you use a business card. Okay. And I actually wrote a blog on that. Your business card is not a flyer. Your business card is your contact info. Who you are, how they can contact you. You can put on there where you're located. It's supposed to be for that. It's not supposed to be for it to be used as a flyer. You actually use a flyer for that, or a brochure, or a postcard. All right, let's see what Melanie and Dimple say. Blue Notary is what I'm going to use for both Marana and IPN starting out. High five, girl. Yes. Yes, use Blue Notary. I need new business cards. I feel attacked. I do. Look, you sound like Stephanie. I wrote a blog about adding services and making sure you add the services where your customers are requesting of you. And she told me she felt attacked. I'm like, no, it's not about you. But yes, Blue Notary is a great choice. They're not very expensive. They do cost, but they're not expensive at all. And they are so easy to use. So you've made a great choice. I've actually used the digital business card in person. It was nice. I've yet to attend a networking meeting with Alignable. Please attend one. They always have them, and they're free for you to register and attend. Attend one, get to know some people, and exchange that digital business card. Stephanie said, I did feel attacked. Don't feel attacked, guys. Don't feel attacked. But yeah, man, you got to. I feel like this is the cheapest part of doing business, grabbing the business cards. Stephanie said, I was like, how she wrote that blog after we spoke about a service I didn't want to offer yet. Because let me tell you, you're not the only person that calls me to ask me about apostles and translations. And not only that, I have a couple of notaries that send their online requests to me because their excuse is that they have not narrowed down a platform yet. I'm like, it's not that hard. You just get a platform and start using it. Okay. The only thing you need to decide on is it compliant for my state? Do I have to pay a subscription for it, or is it pay as you go? And then start using it. It is not difficult. I am not a fan of who runs Blue Notary, but I absolutely love their platform. Their platform is easy to use. My customers love it. It's a no-brainer. I make money when my customers are happy. So Blue Notary is where it's at right now. I also use Pactima, and Pactima is my number one choice. But when I am having issues with Pactima, Blue Notary is a high number 2. Absolutely. I finally got past my fear of online notary. Yes. Yes. And it's not even hard. Let me tell y'all. Stephanie is one of my go-to witnesses for online notary. And she has seen me do online notary so much, the girl can teach you how to do it. Okay? So the fact that she had fear to do it is comical. It really is. Because, oh my God, I can't tell y'all how many Ron sessions I've done. It's lost count. And she's been on most all of them. Okay? So, yeah. Yes, get down. So, yes. Um, what else? I sat through hundreds of, yes, lost count, right? Hundreds is an understatement. I mean, I do like when I tell you guys that 95% of my notary work is online, I am not playing around. And it used to be 90, but I keep getting referrals from happy customers and clients, and I keep getting people who find me online. And because I always answer my phone, because I offer exactly what they're looking for, Google lists me at the top. So I'm right there. And they're like, all right, cool. Let me give her a call. They call me, I get them together, and they good. And they leave me a review. So, yes, you are definitely a confirmation to get on it. Everything you listen so far. Yes, I'm happy. I'm happy that you were able to join us today. Yes, I have. So sometimes I try to make my appointments an hour apart. I've just recently had to change that to give myself a 30-minute buffer. Okay. So, because of that, what I'll do is I'll try to set up all my Ron sessions that I'm going to do for the day. And if I have mobile notary, I'll just make sure that those sessions are together so that if I'm out and it's coming up time, getting close to the time where I'm going to do my Ron, I'll pull over and park in a parking lot. I'll open up my iPad and I'll complete the run in my car right from my iPad. She said me too. Yep. Yep. And sometimes if I get a last minute run, because on my iPad, it's not as easy to set up a session as it is to do it on my laptop. So luckily I have my laptop and I have my hotspot in my car. So I'll pull over, I'll set up the online session on my laptop, and I can just do it right from my laptop because I have my laptop and my iPad in my notary bag. And then getting on the topic of tools, your notary bag. So you got all of this stuff. You need a notary bag to carry it in. Okay. Now, I have had so many different notary bags, I've lost count. But this last notary bag that I have has been my notary bag for the last 2 years, and I love it. And it's on wheels. I'll show you guys it. Let me put my scanner back in here. So everything fits in this bag. It's kind of heavy, so bear with me. This is my notary bag. You see that it has several different compartments, okay? And I have everything I need in this bag. Pull the handle up and pull it along with me. The only time it sucks having a bag like this is when I encounter stairs. Oh my God. I hate when I have to go upstairs with that bag because it's not a good idea for you to drag it up the stairs because you can get that handle stuck. So I end up having to put the handle down and carry it by the, regular handle. And whew, that bad boy is heavy, heavy, heavy. But thank you. But it was worth it. I bought it from Office Depot. I think I got it for $179. I got it on sale because I found one online. They did a price match because I think it costs more, but I think I got it for like $179, and I put it on my business charge card and was like, hey, and that has been the best buy. Thank you. The best buy I've had because my other bags were shoulder bags. And the more notary work I did, the more tools I end up putting in that bag. The more tools I end up putting in that bag, the more heavier it got. And it was killing my shoulder and my back. It was killing me. And I'm like, I could never go back to having a bag that's just on my shoulder. Okay. Because I'm the type of person, I like to have everything I need with me at all times. I wouldn't like, now I know some people, they put just a few things in their bag and they keep everything else in their car. I could not be that person. I could not be that person running back and forth to my car, and I'm not. So that notary bag works really good for me. I used to have a embroidered patch on the front. You saw the plus on there. I used to have a patch over that, and it got snagged and fell off, and I just never put it back on there. So I was like, whatever. Yeah. So I'm like, no, I like to have everything on me. And it's so funny because when I go to notary appointments and I'm getting everything together, and I'm like, all right, guys, so here's the documents. And they're like, okay, let me go find a pen. I'm like, why would I have this big bag on me and not have pens? And then we all start laughing. I'm like, everything we need, I have it. Y'all don't need to give me anything but your IDs. So, um, pens in there, stamps in there, paper clips. In the very front of the bag, there's other compartments in there. So I have everything. I have the portable charger. You absolutely want to have a portable charger. If you are using, you know, eJournal for your devices, especially your cell phone. My portable charger. Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, sorry. My screen just went blank. My portable charger works wonders. It charges my iPad up quickly, charges my keyboard up quickly. That's what I currently have a shoulder bag. Yes, oh my God. That shoulder bag was killing me. And I've had several different ones because I've done videos on here and on Facebook to show you guys when I would get a new one. And I'm like, I cannot be walking around with that shoulder bag. It was getting way too heavy because I was just putting more and more stuff in my bag. So I'm like, no. And then I have a stamp for, I have a bag for my stamps. Let me show you guys that. So in the very back of the bag where the scanner is, I have this bag. I got this off Amazon, and this is where I keep all of my stamps that I use. Okay, which I have a few in there. So I have my mini notary stamp. Yes, it's very small. I have my certificate stamps, which are those fat ones I'm not going to pull out. I have this stamp here because sometimes they don't have the type of ID. Is this going to stop being blurry? Sometimes they don't have the type of ID, and I have to use that. And then remember I told you guys I have the venue stamp, state of, county of. And then I also have how they appear before me stamp. And this is my see attached certificate stamp. I got that from the NNA when I first became a notary. That one doesn't expire, so I don't have to get a new one for that one. And all of these stamps, including my acknowledgement and jurat stamp, are all in this bag. And this bag goes into the bigger bag next to the scanner. What'd you say? Is your bag secured? The stamp bag, it is not. Can it be? Yes, because this bag comes with this little loopy thing here, and I could put a lock on there if I want. I don't have a lock on here. But that's not a bad idea to have one. So yeah, it has the capability to put a little lock on here. Oh, and then I also have my headset because if I ever have to do a run from my car, I still don't want it to be over my loudspeaker. So I have this headset that I also got off of Amazon. Pretty cool. Comes in this little baggie here. And that is in the back of the bag as well with the scanner and the notary stamps. I keep all my charger cords in there for all my devices because the only charger cord I don't have is for the iPad. I can use the portable charger for that, but I'll have to charge everything one at a time. The keyboard, the iPad, and the pencil. They all have their own chargers. So I wouldn't be able to charge all of them at the same time. I don't have a setup for that. I've seen chargers for that, but I don't have a setup for it. I think that's it. Oh, if you're a mobile notary, it's very important that you are able to accept different forms of payment. So I know for some people who, first of all, you should have a business checking account. That is not even something you can skip. You need to make sure you have an account that's separate from your personal. And a business account is not going to break the bank. Okay, it's just a different type of account that you need to have your business registration paperwork to be able to open up. The notary down south, you can put a lock on the bag, though I have the same bag per your recommendation. After I almost fell over a few times. Yeah, it does. It does have that little loop on there where I could add a lock. I just don't have a lock, but I absolutely can add a lock on there. Is my whole notary bag secure? No, I don't have a lock on the notary bag itself. The only thing that I need to have locked up is my journal and my stamps. Nothing else needs to be locked up in there. That's it. Nothing else in there um, needs to be secure. I have loose certificates, ink pens, portable stuff. My iPad is secure with my fingerprint and my passcode. My laptop, the same thing, fingerprint, passcode. My notary stamps is the only thing that I probably should put a lock and key on because I don't want anyone to take that and then be able to use it. They're not going to be able to use my laptop because they can't get into it. They can't get into the iPad either. But the whole notary bag, no. You see how many zippers are on there? Now I can lock it. It does have, so it's heavy. I'm gonna show you again. There is holes here where you can lock this bag because this bag is a winger for anybody who has it. And see here for this middle part where my laptop and my iPad are, it does have a hole. I could put a lock there if I wanted to. So yeah, I have all of the holes here to be able to lock the bag up. Actually, I don't lock it up. Where the lock goes, that's where I put my stamps and journal. Ah, yes, okay. Oh, okay. So you lock that and the actual bag that the notary stamps go in? But yeah, it's not a bad idea. I just I don't lock it up. Um, oh, okay. So you lock both of them up. Okay. Yeah, and they sell those little locks on Amazon. You could absolutely get it. That same bag that I recommended that the notary down south says she uses, they actually sell that bag with a lock. I didn't order it with the lock, but they sell that bag with the lock. So you could buy it with the lock. And you can order those other locks too. Now, whether you would get the lock that has the number pin on it or the one with the key, which one would you recommend? The notary down south. Would you recommend the one that has the number passcode or the key? But yeah, I think that is about it. Oh, Combination. Oh, it's called combination. Yeah. So you would recommend the combination one. Okay. Okay. That may be something I will look into, honestly. Another thing, oh, so that's what I was telling y'all. If you're going to be accepting payments during mobile notary, you want to make sure that you're able to have a business bank account, and whatever payment processing that you're using, make sure that it goes to that bank account. Okay. Now, I have used PayPal, I have used Stripe. My bank account that I currently have, um, they have a card processor built into my business account where I can accept debit cards right from my account so that the money goes directly in there. Yes, it does charge a processing fee. Most of them do. I don't recommend Cash App. All right. I heard they have a business feature, but Cash App is just not very safe to use. I wouldn't do that. Um, Apple Pay, as long as you're making sure that it goes to your business account. Like my Apple Pay on my business phone actually goes to my business account. And then this, I got it when it was called Zettle. PayPal has a they had a Zettle POS. Now it's just called PayPal POS. Never used this dang on thing. I was selling it some years ago, but nobody ever, requested to buy it from me. So I have it, and now I'm going to start using it in my office. And the reason I like this is because in my invoicing, I end up having to type the person's card in manually for the invoice to be paid through it. Whereas I can use this and I can categorize it automatically in my bookkeeping. And when people pay me, I can just have them tap to pay on here. I can also have them tap to pay on my phone, if I feel like getting it out when they're here. But you just want to have different ways for people to pay. Don't just rely on um, cash. Okay. And then you can even do checks. You have the mobile check deposit feature on your bank account apps. And don't shy away from doing checks, because I wrote a blog about this one too. I really thought about it, and people are like, well, a person could do a stop payment on a check. They can, but if the service was $10, they have to pay between $25 and $30 to put a stop payment on a check. So what are the chances that they're going to pay more for a stop payment than what they actually paid you? So it's nothing wrong with you accepting the check. You accept the check or cash, at least you're not having to pay processing fees. But offer different ways to accept payments, because your customers are not going to always have cash, and they're not going to always want to pay cash. I know for me, I don't carry cash on me. The only time I have cash on me is if my customer pay me with it. Other than that, I use plastic for everything. Stephanie says she's waiting for her credit union to integrate Zelle into the business accounts. They just added its personal ones. Okay. All right. Well, it's coming around. My business account has Zelle for business. I love that. I absolutely love that. I had a credit union when I first opened up the business for Notary Public. I used PayPal for my travel business and my body care business that I had. But with Notary, I wanted to use my account, and I couldn't use Zelle at first, so I wasn't offering it for the credit union. But they had started doing it maybe a year or two ago. And I was like, thank goodness. So now on my invoice, when a person gets their invoice from me, it says that they can either pay using their debit or credit card, or they can Zelle me to my business phone number, and it goes right to my business account. So I love it. I'm going to use Stripe with tap to pay. Yes, use it, because it's so freaking easy. It is so freaking easy. I really love it. I really do. And people think it's so cool. They just hold their card into my phone and they're like, oh my God, this. I'm like, yeah. People are so funny with that. They get so amused so easily. But I think that just shows how professional and how serious you take your business when you're able to offer those different ways to pay to your customers. The more professional you appear to be to your customers, the more likely they are to use you and refer people, honestly. Because nobody wants to go and have an unprofessional experience and refer other people for the same experience. No, nobody wants to do that. And I know you probably think it's small, but it is the small things that our customers pay attention to. It really is. So if you're not portraying yourself as a professional, this is why you need to make sure that you have business accounts for your business. Okay. And this is across the board. You want to have a website, you want to have a Google listing. Why? Because everybody searches Google for everything. I mean, why not? you know, you want to be searchable, right? I mean, you could put yourself in a newspaper or yellow pages, but honestly, Google is where people go. And you want to have a business page for that. Okay. You want to have a website. Honestly, people, when they look for businesses, you not having a website kind of makes them not want to work with you, because a website is the gateway to getting, customers and leads. The more information they're able to get about your business, the more likely they are to make the call to secure the appointment. So having a website is another business tool that's super important. I really don't like social media that much because I feel like all of my business comes from Google. Now, I do use social media, okay? But I don't use my personal social media for my business. I use my business pages for my business because I just want everything to match across the border. And I try not to mix things up. I honestly don't want people on my personal page because that's where I put my family and stuff like that. So the business page is strictly for that. And you have to post on it. Like, I have a scheduler where I post all of my posts. So when you see new posts coming up on my business pages on social media, that's not me. It's scheduled. My social media person creates all of the social media and schedules it to post at certain times every day. So making sure that you have all of your business set up the same way across the board. So you want all of your business name to be on everything. Yes, Zoho Social is awesome. Um, all of your pages should be your business name, all right? Because you want to make sure that when people Google you, you want your business to show up, period. Okay. It's okay if you show up, but your business should show up the same on everywhere. This is why it's important when you're setting up your business that you make sure that your business name is not already being used on social media, even if it's not registered in the state. You have some silly people, they'll start using a business name before they register it, or they'll never register it at all, and they'll call themselves a full-fledged business. And you may be like, well, they're not registered. Why can't I use it? Because they started using it first. So you got to make sure that when you decide on a business name, make sure that it's available across all of the channels that you want to use, because you want your business to match across all places online. That's how you build an online digital presence for yourself, is by making sure everything is the same. Oh, thank you. Yes, yes, please do it. And yes, Zoho Social for the win. Stephanie, I put her onto Zoho One, and she has been using it and see that it's an all-in-one. You literally don't have to use anything else but Zoho for everything, because they're a whole business suite. Now, yes, you do have to pay to use it, but it's so worth it. The amount of money that I pay to use Zoho Social, it doesn't even match to the amount of money that I make. Like, it's so worth it. Really, it is. I use Zoho Forms for my e-journal. Stephanie says Zoho wants the go-to platform and very affordable. Yes, it is. It really is. And blessed with melanin and dimples. Thank you so much. I love being full time in my notary business. It offers me so much flexibility, and I have been able to do so much more with my family since I went full time. Oh, girl, you got to look it up. It's Zoho. Just look up Zoho.com, I think. And you're going to see Zoho 1, which is an all in one suite. And it has everything that you need to run your business efficiently and successfully. They kind of offer a lot. Like they just offer so much, and it's kind of hard to learn how to use everything because it's just so much. You can, you know, free ball it, but they have YouTube videos to show you how to use every single app. I use them for accounting. I use their forms for different things, contracts, intake, information, contact form, my journal. They have a work drive. They have a website. They have marketing, email marketing. Like they have everything, anything and everything you could think of. E-commerce store, if you want to use it for that. Email, I mean, everything. And see the notary down south? She said they also have training sessions. Yeah, they are they are that deal. It's yeah. I've been using them for a very long time. I was coming up on 10 years almost that I've been using them. I think I started using them in 2016, and they were great then. They're just even better now. Cost a little bit more, but I don't think that I pay the price that they offer now just because I've been with them for so long. But it's yeah. Good night, Michael. I know you like, ooh, girl, it's about to be 10 o'clock. Good night. I'll see you next Sunday. So, yeah, guys, I do need to go ahead and wrap it up. It has been so nice talking to you guys. Thank you so much for joining me tonight on the channel. Like I said, every Sunday I come live 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time to talk to you guys about business and notary related topics. All right, and share some tips and share more information and answer all your questions. So I will see you guys again next Sunday. And definitely check out Zoho, Melanin and Dimples. And then, guys, don't forget to check out the website where I have so many resources on there. We have all of our books, journals, everything. All right. You are very welcome. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys again later. Have a wonderful week ahead. Good night.